I'm joined now by trainer and breeder Kevin Ferguson, who has kindly agreed to tell us a bit more about himself and thoughts on the British breeding scene and various things. Thank you for joining us, Kevin. Things going very, very well for you this year. We'll touch on more of that in a moment. But for those who maybe don't know too much about you, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I've mostly been in greyhounds all my life. My father had a few flapping dogs, and I was going through the greyhounds before I was even born, because I was born in Dublin, and my mother and father used to go to Shelburne Park and Havel's Cross nearly every week. So I was going while I was inside, sort of thing. And then I bought one or two very cheap grading dogs in the sort of 80s, and did very, very well with them, with having them with trainers. And then I started getting some dogs with Dave Hopper at Sheffield, and that's when I really got sort of quite seriously doing them then. We were lucky to have a Scottish Derby winner, Burn Park Lord, and from that I got a litter from that, which started racing when Kinsley went licensed at the beginning of the 2000, and they turned out to be a really good litter. And then from them, I bred from them, and somebody sent me a real well-bred bitch, and we bred some out of that, and it's been like that for 20 odd years. And we've had maybe a dozen litters in the last 20 odd years, which every litter has had open race winners in. So
that is unbelievable, really unbelievable. And also for you as a trainer, your stats have got better each year. I don't know how much notice you take of stats, but this year you've got a 30% strike rate as well. So very much a kennel in form at the moment.
Yeah, well, I've really done fairly well every year, you know, because I don't normally, I only have like 4 or 5 runners a year, and dogs to run, that is. And we seem to win our share. So I'd like to win a category 1, and we haven't done that yet, but we've had plenty of finals, and plenty of category 1 finals as well now recently, 2nds and 3rds in them. So we just need to win a category 1, and we'll be happy.
Well, the 2 litters of Kevin Ferguson's that have recently sort of taken the greyhound scene by storm a little bit are your homebreds out of Acorn Ruby and Higher Butt. I think there's 11 in total, in August 2018 and a March 21 litter. And as you alluded to when we were talking earlier, all of them have won Opens. I mean, what's the secret?
I don't know. I think luck will be 90% anyway. But we do. I think we rear them well, feed them well, and I know what I'm doing really. So hopefully they turn out good. But we've done well, really.
Is it just about speed, or does temperament play a part as well, do you think?
I think temperament really helps. I mean, we've had dogs from Ireland we've bought. They've been bags of nerves, you know. These of ours are kind of bomb-proof. You know, they've got lovely temperament, and they've been handled from day one, you know. So I think that helps a lot.
Tell us about your Doncaster hat-trick last week.
Yeah, well, it wasn't unexpected. There were short prices. The first one was a little bit lucky. I think it could have been beaten if the runner apparently had a bit of a go at it. But the other 2 won easy. So yeah, it was a good night. I didn't have the a treble. I had a double, and I'm back to them all separate. So it was a good night anyway. Yeah.
How satisfying are wins like that? Do you take a lot of sort of joy from it?
Yeah, well, I suppose if you don't, you shouldn't be doing it, should you? Really, if you can't get a bit of joy out of winning, you get plenty of losers. So you need to make the best of winning. So yeah. And
one eye on the produce. I'm guessing it's Swindon.
I think that'll be the target. Yeah, I think we'll probably take them all there. Some of them are kind of sprinters that need a little bit further, and I think that distance, we'll get that distance. I think it'll be a good field, though. I think there'll be a lot of interest, because this year has been it was like free to enter this year. So all the dogs are already entered. Was some people would miss out normally to enter, so I think could be a lot of runners. So it may be tough.
And who is
But
the
we
best of
have,
yours, would you say?
Sorry,
Who's the best of yours, would you say?
I wouldn't like to. I wouldn't like to say Acom Irene's the best out of them at the moment. I think she's quite a top class bitch now. The way she's running, she's had a season, and she's come back, really, really well. So I would think the distance would suit her. Acom Felix, he would maybe struggle a little bit with the distance, but I think he's got the ability to go a long way in it. But I think it won't be easy. We had the runner up about, I think it was 3 years ago now. Acom Winston, he finished runner up in the Produce Stakes. So that's the nearest we've been really to winning a good category one. So hopefully we'll go one better this time.
Kevin Ferguson, trainer and breeder. Every litter he has bred has produced an open race winner, and in some cases, very many. Obviously, your latest 2 litters, you went to higher butt. Why higher butt?
I think it was the easiest option at the time. I'm not sure if COVID was on. No, it wouldn't be on for the first litter. But it was available, and it was the easiest option. But I mean, it was a lovely, tough dog, well bred himself, and I think that means a lot when you're breeding. You need to be breeding something that's had a good career, a long career, to get the toughness in the dogs. So we went for that, and then the second litter, we just went for a repeat mating. I was overruled by my wife, but at the time we couldn't get to Ireland anyway to go with anything else because of COVID. So we went anyway. I'm quite happy to go back to Airbus.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you be? And Acom Ruby, obviously, the bitch of yours. What does make a suitable bitch for breeding? Would you want that long career from the bitch, or maybe less so?
I don't think that matters. I think it's an old wives' tale, to be quite honest. I've normally all the bitches I've bred out of are normally 5 years old before I breed out of them, because I like them to run. So I've never really bred out of a young bitch. So I think that's a fallacy about that being lightly raced, really.
And temperament, is that important in the bitch?
I think the bitch is all important. She was a very good bitch. Acom Ruby. She's probably the best I've had, really. She was a lovely bitch. She won like 10 different tracks first time on. She was the sort of bitch that you could go to a new track and she just came alive, and she won. She was exceptionally good when she was on song. She had a lot of injuries, minor injuries, but when she was on song, many would beat her, I don't think.
The latest litter that you've had, you've sent us some footage kindly. Gorgeous puppies. You didn't go to a higher butt for them?
No, we didn't, unfortunately. Well, I was at the beginning of the year, I got it into me and my wife would go away, so we went on a cruise for 3 months, and I sent all the dogs to different trainers basically, and a couple of retired ones, of which Acom Ruby was one. And anyway, she came back expecting pups. I think there were valid excuses, but anyway, she came back, and after about looking at her for 2 weeks, I thought there's something wrong here, and it turned out she was expecting pups, but she was nearly 10 years old, so that was my biggest worry. But she's had the pups, no problem. She's reared them fine, and she's been a really good mother with them. So that wasn't really anything to worry about at her age.
Who is the dad?
The dad is a dog called Max Light Express. He ran at Kinsley. He actually won an A2, so it could have been worse. And he is very well bred on his dam side. The dam is Scirocco Star, which has thrown maybe 20 open race winners. So the breeding's there on that side. So
what do you think of them to look at? Any good?
Well, they look nice. They're keen as mustard. the chasing round, fighting. They look as good as any we have had before. Really, you can't really tell at that age, but just seem they're nice looking pups, and they've got loads of energy. And I'll just do the best I can with them and see where we go. We might be lucky.
Well, Kevin, the British breeding scene has changed quite a lot in recent years. How much does it motivate you to keep going, or is breeding something that you just enjoy anyway? How much of a difference does it make, the fact that there are more competitions and better prize money on offer now?
I think it means everything, the British breeding, the way they've set races up now. They're kind of easier to win in a way, although it seems to be getting harder and harder. About 3 years ago, there was me and Rob McNair. I think we had the races kind of between us. He's been a bit quiet the last couple of years on the British bred side, but then Kevin Hutton's come along. Dave Firmiture's he's takes some beating with us, so it's seems to be getting harder. But it means everything really to the British, the way they do it. I think there's one thing, and I mentioned it to Liz Moore. I think sometimes these little small competitions, I think there should be, some of them should be put together and run at the same time on the same track. Take for instance a Ledger, maybe with a sprint, because most people who have British bred dogs and open race dogs that will have stayers and 4-bend dogs and sprints, and I think it would be better. So we went to Benlow last year and we had to go 4 times in all, mainly because it was abandoned once. And he got to the final and he ended up with £100. That it would have been better if we could have gone with some more dogs, maybe with a sprint. So I think that could be looked at.
Would make more financial sense. Do you target the British races specifically now?
Yeah, you would do, yeah. So there's obviously the produce coming up. At the end of the year, we'll have the one at Sheffield that we finished second in last year. So yeah, I look for British bred, but most of them don't fill. That's the problem. Up in the north, I don't know what it's like down south, but the one-offs seem to struggle to fill. So maybe could try a bit harder doing that. But, I don't specifically target them because I think most of my dogs are probably good enough to win any sort of opens, really. So, but at one time they wouldn't be good enough. They'd be just British bred, British opens. But yeah.
Kevin Ferguson, obviously, schooling is such a massive part of breeding and British breeding, obviously. A lot of people here will breed a litter and then send the pups to Ireland when they get to a certain age for schooling. What do you do? How do you school your pups?
Well, with this latest litter, I don't know what I'm going to do with them, to be quite honest. The other litters, I've taken them for schooling to Asken. And just put them around there in hand slips, and they've gone straight away, more or less. We did have one in the last litter, Aiken Mabel. I just couldn't get her to go at all. She was hopeless. She wouldn't run at all. And I sent her to Ireland to Damien McCann. And she's come back. She came back. She wasn't 100% when she came back. She should have won her first few races, and she wasn't really putting it in. But since then, she's got the idea of it now, and she's as genuine as they come now, really, I think. But I think it would be difficult, really, to try and get them schooled. Although Kinsley do hand slips and schooling trials, so I would think we should be okay, really, to taking advantage of that. But it's maybe could do with a schooling track somewhere up north. Well, I don't know. We'll see. No, normally mine have gone straight away, and normally they have one hand slip, maybe once all the boxes, and then they go straight to racing. So I'll try to have a bit in hand when it comes to racing. So,
obviously, the changes at Asken, and there's always talk around Bicester as well. How important are schooling tracks?
Well, I wouldn't be going to Bicester because it's too far, but I do it here. I do it here, really. We've got a trap. I've got a drag air, a gallop, so we can more or less, they can more or less be going before they even go. So yeah, I think we'll manage it okay.
You've also mentioned obviously Asken and Kinsley, which went licensed in your time as a trainer. How much did you enjoy that independent scene, which I believe is where you sort of started your racing?
Yeah, I miss it really. Yeah, it was so much easier really to, but I really enjoyed Kinsley when it first changed, because I don't think people, I think people down south and that thought we were a load of numpties, and they didn't know have any idea about times or anything, and it was so easy to go down to Peterborough somewhere. I mean, I've had dogs that I thought were certainties, and they were 10-1 shots, and it was so easy them days. You know, it's got harder obviously as you go along, because there's more information and that now, but it was easy them days.